What's going on? What's going on, everybody? It is the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there.
How's it
How
going?
we doing today, Casino?
Good. Very burnt out, but excited to talk about sports because we haven't in a long time. And it's not going to be just about football anymore, which excites me because I'm an all-around sports fan.
Yeah. You know what? This is finally the year where I get, I feel like the last couple of years I've got really into the NBA. This is the year, Casino, I get really into baseball. I'm going to bring it back for the youngins.
I can help you.
I mean, last year was I had to get into it for the podcast, but I'm getting into it as a fan. But today,
Well, who are you going to go for? Which team? Which team?
Oh, I've always been an Angels fan, and I've always been a Phillies fan. So those are my two teams.
Say Phillies then.
Well, I mean, I root for the Phillies because they're actually good. The Angels are never good. I've just always liked the Angels because I was there. I was there the year. I don't know if they were going to the World Series or they won the World Series. I was in Anaheim with my family when for Disneyland. Obviously, the only two reasons you go to Anaheim, either for the Angels or Disneyland, and the atmosphere. It was cool. We got free swag. It was awesome. Yeah. So that's how you make young fans. I was like, I don't know, 9, 10. You give them free swag. That's the key.
I mean,
that's the key,
true.
Casino. Yeah. What hat are you wearing? What is that? Is that the Aviators?
Yeah, Las Vegas Aviators. This is a very dad hat, man. Very dad hat. You know, it's got the breathable sides, got the nice little bit backing. You know, very breathable, very nice. But the LV logo right there, Aviators, as you can see. Boom, boom.
I mean, Aviators, good name. Not as good as Montgomery Biscuits.
Montgomery Biscuits.
Not as good as Montgomery Biscuits.
That's so good. Montgomery Biscuits. Oh man. But yeah. Where do you want to start, man? We got plenty to talk about. I have some NHL stuff you haven't talked about. There was an NFL story that you didn't pull up, but yeah, we could do it. We could do it.
You know what? So we have, let's see, I have 3 NFL topics. You have a 4th. I have 3 basketball stories, NBA, and then 2 college basketball. So because I feel like we're mainly a football show, let's get the football out of the way. Or no. We said last episode that we would start with NHL.
Hockey.
So we're starting NHL.
I'll give one headline right now. Because I mean, right, we're still on the trade deadlines coming up, so we're still working on who's going to go where. I'm waiting for like that first domino to fall, and then everybody just does everything. So we won't get much into the trades, potential trades right now. My favorite story happens to be with Austin Matthews, who plays for the Maple Leafs. Love to hate the Maple Leafs and everything about it, and it's really fun to hate on the Maple Leafs.
Love to see their fans cry.
Oh yeah,
love it.
But right now, Austin Matthews is having an absolute stellar season. He just had his 53rd goal, and I think it's 56 games total that he's played. So he's got roughly about 25 games. I don't know exactly where his count is. 25 games left in the season. His best, which is 35th all time, most goals scored in a season, is sitting at 60. And that was in a shortened season. That was during the bubble season, I believe. But no, it wasn't. It was the year after the bubble season. But anyway, he's on pace. He could reach that 70 goal mark, which really there's only a few guys up in that 70 goal mark for a single season. Obviously, Wayne Gretzky is up there, but it's fun to watch Austin Matthews. He's one of the cleanest scorers in hockey since he's joined the league. Guess how many hat tricks this guy has? I don't know if we covered it a few podcasts ago. I don't think we did, but guess how many how many hat tricks this guy has in a single season? Are you there?
5.
Close, 6. I think we may have brought this up last because now I feel like
Yeah,
I
I said
talked about it a
5.
little bit.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, 6. But yeah, he's doing a really good job.
I feel like that does
Um,
ring a bell.
yeah. So I'm still on that watch. It's fun to watch him keep scoring and scoring. I want you to guess what Wayne Gretzky, because he did with the Oilers back in 81, 82 in 80 games played. What do you think his total goals were? You only
I would have
play
no
so
idea. I know when it gets to
take it
Wayne
just take
Gretzky, it's like Wayne Gretzky and Jerry Rice. All their records are so insane that they don't sound real. So what is it?
so in 80 games played, he scored 92 goals.
Jesus.
92 goals in 80
Jesus.
games played. And this is regular season. And assists, he had 120. So he had 212 points. And so that's just insane. That's outrageous. It's stupid. It's just absolutely mind-boggling that he had that number. But anyway, so that's pretty cool. I've just been on watching that. It's power rankings are in. The Knights look like they're going to make the playoffs, being the reigning champs. They're still sitting comfortably in the Pacific Division, but there's a few teams that are just clear better than everybody. The Canucks are having a phenomenal season with Vancouver, and then Boston Bruins, even though they lost 2 all-stars, 2 superstars, game changers with Patrice Bergeron and oh my gosh, Brad Marchand, or David Krejci. David Krejci. They're still, even losing those 2 guys, they're still up there. We'll see if they fall flat in the playoffs like they did last year. But yeah, so exciting time in hockey because I feel like there's a lot of new teams coming up and in outside of the Bruins right now. So that's fun. There was just my quick NHL thing.
Well, my NHL question to you is
Yeah.
right now, if you had to put money on how many teams have a legit shot at winning the Stanley Cup, what would your number of teams be? Just, I mean, it
Ooh.
doesn't have to be an exact number, just a ballpark.
Um, 6. I think
6.
6
That's
teams. Yep.
interesting because that's how many I also said when I wrote this down in the NBA. I said 6. And I
Yeah.
feel
So I can see
like maybe
the
that's in all
Panthers.
sports.
Fair. So where I'm at it would be the Panthers, Bruins, in the Atlantic, in the Metropolitan. I would have the Rangers, Hurricanes. Then going into the Pacific. Why is my thing frozen here? Sorry. Oh, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then actually, yes, 7. I would say, and then Canucks, Golden Knights, Oilers, in the Pacific, because I think the Oilers could do it. And then in the Central, the best team in that Central is the Stars. And then oddly enough, the Winnipeg Jets and the Avalanche are tied, and they're right up in there with having really, really good seasons. For some reason, the Central just doesn't scare me. Being a West Coast, Pacific Division, West Coast Conference guy, the teams that scare me would be the Canucks and the Oilers coming out of the West. The Stars, not really. They're kind of a one-trick pony. The Avalanche, they got probably arguably he's top 3 best player in the league easily with Nathan McKinnon. But again, I like well-balanced teams with one player. If you can stop them, it kind of ends it for him. So yeah, and then the Jets, the Knights have always owned the Jets, even when the Jets are good. So not worried about that. Coming out of the Pacific, I would say 7 teams: the Canucks, Golden Knights, Oilers. No team in the Central scare me, but then out of the East, it's the top 2 teams in each division, which is the Panthers, Bruins. Maple Leafs will fall flat on their face like they always do, and it's hysterical. The Rangers and the Hurricanes. I know I picked the Devils at the beginning of the season. They're flirting with getting a wild card, but I don't see it. But yeah, that's where I'm at. Seven teams legitimately, I think, have a shot to win. half the field.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I think that's what should always be the goal if you're a sports league, right? To feel like half the teams have a shot, a quarter of the teams are like right there, and then a quarter of the teams are rebuilding, right? And it's just
Mm.
that cycle, just over and over again. But that I promised Casino we'd start with NHL. I almost forgot, but then I remembered. So there's your NHL
Member.
update. Now
Member.
Casino, you want to move
Yes.
to college basketball, football, or NBA?
Let's keep let's keep our viewers and our listeners on edge because they only care about football. So let's keep that away and let's continue with something else.
All right, let's go just quickly to we talked about college basketball last time. Let's talk about it again.
This is a
I'm
good
sure at
story.
this point everyone is familiar with what happened in the Wake Forest Duke game. The Duke basketball player, I will pull up his name right now. Wake Forest
Kyle,
upset. Oh, you got it?
go for it's Kyle Filipowski.
Great. First off, great name. As someone whose name I've never liked my own name. I feel like that has given me an appreciation for great names. Right? Like when I
You got
hear
a
somebody
great
has a
name.
great
You've
name,
got a great when you say your full name because you have two middle names. Like
it's too
I
long.
love your name. I love your name.
It's too long.
Yeah, but I
It's
do
too
love
long.
any
I've
being
heard that before.
being a Boston sports fan. I love any names with ski at the end. It's great. It's fantastic. It makes me smile. And there was a whole bit. I don't know if you ever watched the movie Ted.
But so hit
Did you ever watch the movie Ted? There's a whole
yeah.
thing where they're doing the ski things and all the
Yes.
it's fantastic because it's so true. Being a Boston sports fan, you love players and people that are with the ski at the end of their name. So Kyle Filipowski, great name.
Which actually, side note, have you seen the TED show yet? It's
Yeah, I've
on
watched the whole thing.
Peacock.
I liked it.
Is it good?
I liked it. I thought it
Okay.
was. I thought
You're
it
like
was
the
really
fifth
good.
person. You're the fifth person who said it's really good, and I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. But hit
I
me with
actually
that
like the
name one more time,
show
Casino.
Kyle Filipowski. I actually like it better than the actual movies.
Damn. Okay, that's
Yeah,
high
it was
praise. I'm gonna check it out.
it was really good. There's some moments in there. I mean, they don't let they don't hold back just because it's a TV show. Like they went full blown. There's a few things that Ted gets into and like roasting people that have me on the floor like dying laughing. And I think the person who plays the younger version of oh my gosh, the main character, I
Mark
forget his
Wahlberg.
name. Yeah, oh my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Anyway, that kid, I think he played a really good young version of him. So it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. Well, there's the only sports podcast recommendation of the week, the TED
Yeah.
Show. I'm gonna
Just
check
watch
it
it.
out.
Check it out.
But so Kyle
Kyle
Filipowski
Filipowski.
was hurt, quote unquote. I'm gonna use air quotes, quote unquote, hurt in what can only be described as a court storming kerfuffle after
Ugh.
Wake Forest upset Duke, which led to now we'll talk about the Kyle Filipowski of it all, but first it's brought on, much like all these things do, a much bigger conversation, which is should court storming be banned in college basketball, Casino?
I'll be honest, in all sports, I don't think it should be banned. However, I've always thought this because I've stormed courts. I've always thought about it. It's fun. But where I'm at with it is you need to give time for the other players, the opposing players, to get off the court safely, and the coaches and everybody to get off the court safely, and then storm the court. I know you're excited. I know it's cool when that buzzer goes off, and It's final. You're excited. You want to go out there and celebrate with the team. Like, and it's just like one of those things, like a mosh pit for going to a hardcore show or something. If you go in there, there's potential for you getting hurt. You've already weighed that risk of you're going to rush a court with a whole bunch of other crazy fans. Half the time, they're drunk fans, especially if it's a wet campus or, they've already pre-gamed somewhere, if it isn't a wet campus. But give the opposing team time to get off the field, the court, whatever it may be, so you don't injure players. I've always thought that. I'm never the first one to rush on the court. I wait until things have settled, everybody's out, and then I go onto the court when it's already like full or whatever it may be. That's my take on it, because it is, and I've seen it, not maybe to this extent with a good team, but I have seen players struggling from the opposing team trying to get off the court, and they're getting ran into, and they're bigger than most of the people, so they're pushing them aside and whatnot, so they're not really getting hurt. But in this one, it shows a clear video. This kid from Wake Forest fan comes running out, and he literally like steps on the ankle of the Duke player and of Kyle. And I agree. I would be really pissed off at that as well. And I do like that the Wake Forest coach came out and was like, yeah, I don't support storming the court. They did it. I've never been a fan. So, kudos to him that he wasn't trying to defend the situation and his fans. But that's where I'm at with it. What is your take? Because I am dying to know, because I feel like you have a strong opinion about this. Oh, which, by the way, on Twitter and X, Kyle, it's Kyle Flip Filipowski. All right. Nice.
Great.
Just have to throw that in there.
But I will say that, we obviously in college basketball had a story earlier this season with Caitlin Clark. Also had a incident where a fan got knocked into her when they were storming the court and all this kind of stuff. When it comes to that incident and when it comes to the Filipowski of it all, I will say, after you watch both videos, it looks like they're trying to get called for a penalty in the basketball game they just played by flopping. Both of them look like they are still in that I'm in the game mindset, and they're trying to draw a foul. They just don't look like, it's not like either of them got creamed or smacked into somebody. I've been walking with my head down and hit into people harder than either of them were hitting. But I think the thing that separates college from professional is for a while, it was the amateur nature of it. It was, these kids are just playing for the love of the game, right? Now they're not getting any money. Now, apparently, when you pay athletes that from schools that are worth billions of dollars, apparently that makes it not that college level. For whatever reason, I don't know why college is synonymous with making no money. So now I feel like the college atmosphere around this kind of stuff is like, well, now we're paying these athletes, so we have to treat them as, professional sports athletes. So we can't have the dangers of the field being stormed or the court being stormed after an upset. But that's always been a thing. It's always, again, Duke was ranked in the top 10 when this happened. So, especially if you're Duke, if you're North Carolina, if you're Kentucky, if you're any of these big college basketball programs, and you can do the same for football with Alabama, any of the SEC teams, blah, blah, blah. You should know, as a player, as a fan, as coaches, as security, whatever, if you are upset in that game by a team ranked lower than you or by a rival or any of that, the quarter field is going to be stormed. So this thing, as if we're living in this world where this is now a new thing, or it's like, oh my God, it's happened twice this season in the 300 college basketball games they play. that now it's like this wider discussion where it's like we have to protect the athletes and all this kind of stuff. How about the athletes are smart enough to realize, hey, maybe I don't try to run through the middle of the court when there's all people coming vertically and I'm trying to run horizontally. Like maybe,
Okay.
I don't know,
I'm going to stop you right there.
Be more self-conscious.
I'm going to stop you right there. So the game, watch the clip. Watch the clip. If you watch the clip, the fans are already on the court. I'm watching it again right now. The fans are already on the court before the time even runs out. Before the game's even over. There's like a still full second. The game's still going on. And then the Wake Forest players or fans run out onto the court. That's what bothers me. The game is still fucking going. Give the players and coaches and the staff time to get off. And then if you're watching it, it bothers me where anybody who's so they're trying to carry him out, and you still have Wake Forest fans going into the middle of them, flipping them off, taking videos of them and don't give a shit that this guy just got hurt. That's where my issue is with it. I understand about the whole, and I do think it's dumb where now there's a whole mindset. I'm agreeing with you here. The whole mindset of they're getting paid now a whole bunch of money. So we want to protect them because now they're assets to us. And before they didn't give a shit, because it's for the love of the game. I get that. I totally understand that. But it's still, even if that wasn't there and it was still for the love of the game, some of these players, especially as you said, if you're a top 10 program and you get beat, you know that they're going to storm the court. Fine, whatever. But a lot of those players have the opportunity. They might not make the NBA, but they might get paid to play professional basketball in some aspect, whether it's D League, G League, a random overseas thing, whatever. They still have a chance. So if you injure them, that's an issue. To me, that's an issue. So again, I am fine with rushing the court, never been against it, but you need to give the opposing players and staff time to get off the court or off the field so they do not get injured and you hinder their rest of their life as a possibility of doing that. I know I'm reaching for the stars on that one for the rest of their life, but it's a real thing. So if that fan, when he stepped on his ankle, what if he tore that dude's Achilles and that guy's never good again?
But we can't play the what if game. You can't play the what if game because he could do that. We saw with Fred Warner in the Super Bowl where he's just running on the field and he's out for the game. But I agree with you.
But if there's a way to the what if game, fine. But if there's a way to stop that from happening, if you can prevent it, which I think is an easy thing to prevent, just just give them time. Just announce like during a timeout that's close to the end of the game. If it happens, please give the opposing players and team time to get off the court. Blah blah blah. Just be conscious of it. That's where my issue is.
Well, that I agree with, but
again, there was still a full second on this, and then the fans ran out on the court.
But it was also, this is also another thing where it's a 4-point game, so it's not like it's a last second shot. It's an upset, that's coming. So this is more on
you're just gonna let them throw the ball in and not try to play the rest of the game.
Not like the fans
just stand on the side. Just stand on the sideline. Just say, okay, there's a minute.
Well, minute, but I'm saying
6 left. I'm done playing the game.
Yeah, but again, when it comes to fans, it's not their job to make sure the players are safe because, again, it's not like he was being attacked. He was running in the middle of a crowd and hit into another person in the crowd. It's not like he was maliciously attacked. It's up to security at Duke University to be like, okay, this is clearly the end of the game here. Maybe we have protocol for this thing that happens all the time.
That's a fair point.
Instead of just,
that's a fair point.
Or you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Just in college
Yeah.
basketball and college football, this stuff happens. In NBA and NFL, why there's upsets all the time. Fans never rush the court. So clearly there's a protocol in place for sporting events to make sure nobody rushes the court or the field. And if you are letting the fans rush the court or the field, because again, different between amateur and professional, then have protocols in place where it's like, hey, Duke guy, go stand on the sidelines after this. We'll have security come get you and escort you off the field. Don't try to run the length of the field horizontally when everyone is coming at both sides vertically. You ever go to Disneyland or a theme park, you never try to walk through the middle of a crowd because you're going to hit a kid, you're going to get hit by a stroller, your ankles. It's
I just
just,
kick them.
this is common sense things again, but we try to put it.
Kick them aside. Did I just kick the kids aside?
But then it's common sense things, but then we try to put it through a prism of like, how could this happen? Oh my God, egregious. And it's just like, it's not like the Wake Forest fans attack this guy with a bat in the middle of the crowd and they're like, oh my God, they shouldn't have been on the court. It was people probably drunk, probably celebrating a win, and then all of a sudden there's this Filipowski guy just running right into you, and you're just like, oh, sorry, bro. And then you just keep celebrating.
He wasn't running, by the way. He was trying to walk back to his bench.
Brisk jog, a light jog.
He was walking.
But yeah. So I don't think court storming or field storming should be banned or anything like that. But I do think I agree with your point of protecting the student athletes. But again, that's on the organization.
You have a different way. Yeah. You want it to be under security instead of the fans being respectful. Got it.
Well, not even respectful. Just like the fans are rushing the court. Why should, and again, it's not the person he hit was looking the other way. So it's not even like it was a targeted attack. I just think the fans again are being thrown under the bus as if they were intentionally doing this. And it's not a fault of the school.
No, they weren't intentionally going to hurt him, but they were intentionally running the court. Anyway,
yeah, but not with the intent to hurt.
So it sounds like we're on the same boat where, I'm fine with the court storming. You're fine with the court storming. Just, we need different ways of going about it, whether they tell the student, the fans, hey, give them time to get off, or just up security to make sure that doesn't happen, so they have the proper time to get off, regardless. Yeah. So,
and like you were saying earlier,
have you ever stormed a court? It's fun. It's fun, especially when you're hammered.
Well, no, like you were saying earlier, especially with all these wet campuses, it should be really easy to get off. You know what I'm saying, Casino? With all these wet campuses.
I get it. I was trying to think of a fun storming the court sexual joke, but you beat me to it. Thank you. I had nothing, so I couldn't.
I beat you. It's okay. I beat you to the wetness. We stormed it. But
you've missed me that much, haven't you?
I have. We actually, since the last podcast we've done, you and I went golfing together.
Yeah, we did. We had a bit of a guys' night. That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was fun, and went golfing. We had a good time with a couple of our other buddies who don't listen to this podcast because they don't care about us at all. I
don't think they like sports.
Yeah, they don't. But it was nice that he likes a few sports. But it was nice. It was nice to go out, and then afterwards we went and got dinner, and then we got into some what we call #real talk, and then we all left in a very somber mood. At least that's what happened to me.
But hey, we did have Mexican food, and Mexican food, it's the best food because they're like, listen, we have 5 ingredients we like, and we're going to do every combination of these 5 ingredients we can think of, and people are going to lose their minds. And you know what? That's exactly what happened. A burrito is a chimichanga, is a taquito, is fajitas, is nachos. And you know what? All of them work. All of them are great. And the place we went, it was margaritas and burritos. I mean, what are we doing here?
I got the fajitas though. They were bomb.
Yeah. Well, you were
'Cause
like, I want dinner with a little show. So
yeah,
that's why you ordered
I want
fajitas.
a little dinner with a little sizzle. Hey.
But let's move over to the women's side of college basketball casino.
Real quick,
So
do you have to get out of here at a certain time because you've got 20 minutes in?
no, I do not.
Oh,
My
sweet.
son is
Cool.
at his mom's, so I do not have to skedaddle like I usually do when we record this. But
Women's.
let's move to the women's side where of course we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark. Uh already already she is, let's see this. She is,
Just go to the
oh, I
Athletic. They
just
got
had it.
the Caitlin Clark counter.
So what is that counter at casino?
Well, that's where I'm going. I told you to go to it, but I guess I'll
Well,
go
no, I
to
got
it.
it pulled up, but I
All right,
was
go for it.
okay.
Well,
So the this from Yahoo Sports. The Iowa Star passed Lynette Woodard's uh 3,649 career points with Kansas, erasing a significant end. Blah, blah, blah. She also moved to only 18 points shy of breaking Pistol Pete Maravich, great name, 3,667 mark for the NCAA scoring record among both men and women. So Clark has been averaging 30 points a game. The next game is Iowa's regular season finale against number 2 ranked Ohio State on Sunday. So she needs 8 points. Last game she just played, she had 15 points almost immediately in the game. So tickets for this game have skyrocketed, I
Dude, she's
believe.
selling out arenas. Yeah, man.
Well, she also, in the midst of all this, announced that she will be entering the WNBA draft after this season. Obviously, she's projected to be the number 1 pick. Do you think, Casino, that Caitlin Clark can, I don't want to say save the WNBA, but I guess renew or start interest in the WNBA on a wider scale?
Definitely. If she comes in and she is that, that next generational player, like a Sue Bird, like a Lisa Leslie, Brittany Griner, for the WNBA, people want to watch that, like when Brittany Griner came in the league, she was one of the few, because she's super tall, one of the few women that actually was dunking. That piqued a lot of people's interest. That was fun to watch. And then, Sue Bird is arguably one of the greatest players of all time. So if you have like that niche where you draw a crowd because you're really good at something, they're gonna watch it. So Caitlin Clark coming in the league and it's just like, I'm this scoring machine. Try to stop me. People are gonna watch that, especially if she breaks this record, which, barring injury, she's gonna break this record. And there's still some time left in this season. She has potential to even go after that all-time record with, it has a just over the 6,000 mark to reach the person that was in the lower league or whatever it was. But
Yeah, we
I
talked
mean,
about that last episode. Whatever that random sports league no one knows is, but
yeah, whatever
apparently
it
it's
is.
official. Yeah.
But I mean, she's close to that. But the NCAA, once she beats Pistol Pete, that's what people are going to know, which is just outrageous. Yeah, no, I think it's definitely going to bring more eyes to the WNBA. I mean, here in Vegas, I know that you don't really to watch it all that much, but at my places of work, we do turn on those games because Vegas has always been waiting for a professional sports team. So we got the Knights. The year later, we get the Aces. So, and their brand new franchises, people cling on to that. I know I've said it before on this podcast, but I'll say it again. I've had arguments with people like, oh, when I say, oh, the Aces games sell out, they're like, oh, yeah, that's because the tickets are so cheap. Yeah, they might be $10, roughly whatever they are, cheaper than that, $8 to $15 per game for the cheap seats. But people are still spending their time going to the games. Like they're spending not just money but time.
Well,
It's
also,
a little different for, at least for me, seeing that in Vegas, because the Aces coming into town brought pretty much this city's eyes onto the WNBA. But outside of that aspect, and other teams in the WNBA, they don't have the same viewership as the Aces, who are back-to-back champions, probably going to repeat. But wherever Caitlin Clark goes, that fan base is gonna go from wherever they are. They're gonna at least double, maybe triple, and the viewership out there just for like TV viewership is definitely going to go through the roof, because maybe not through the roof, but it's going to increase. People are going to watch it because people are talking about Caitlin Clark. They're selling out games for women's college basketball, which you don't normally see. So just imagine that translated now into professional. It's going to be really good. I do think it's going to put more eyes on the WNBA. And we'll see if more people watch it, because there's more and more talent as the years go on coming out of college for the female athletes, and they're crushing it.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you just said, except for the thing where you said ticket prices were low, because I don't know if you we're going to talk about the Lakers Clippers game.
I was just
What I'm
making the
saying
argument is what people were telling me. I don't know what the prices are, but that's what they say to me. And then I just rebuttal it with, doesn't matter if the prices are cheap, whatever they are. If you're saying they're cheap, if they are cheap, people don't care. They're still spending their time to go to those games. Here, I'll look up.
I was going to back up your point by saying a nationally televised game for the NBA on Wednesday night before the Lakers Clippers, which was the late game. The early game was Pacers Pelicans. Before tip off, games for that, or ticket prices for that game, were like $10. So again, like this thing where it's just like the good teams in the NBA, the select few, are always, crazy prices. I know I've tried to take my son to a million game, but I'm not paying $1,000 to go to a Tuesday night where it's the Warriors versus, the Pelicans. But again, much like with every sport, the bad teams or the teams no one's interested in, the tickets are always going to be low. So this thing where it's like, oh, WNBA tickets are low. But it's like, yeah, but then we're seeing in college basketball where tickets to go to Caitlin Clark games are some of the hottest tickets around. So I don't get this thing where you talk about ticket prices. Clearly there's something here that's lightning in a bottle for whatever reason. And how could that not translate to the WNBA?
Yeah, so
right?
I'm looking up just the Aces tickets right now. So, but again, these are Aces who are back-to-back champions and on probably going to three-peat. It's showing prices anywhere on SeatGeek for this season. I'm seeing like the cheapest one for their home opener at Michelob Arena here at Mandalay Bay versus the Phoenix Mercury is $28. It's the cheapest seat. So going on a SeatGeek, I see a couple 15s, and then I see ones where like $90 for the cheapest seat. So I mean, yeah, people are going to go, and that's awesome. So I'm that whole $10 thing. Fuck off, people. I've never had the time to go to those games. But yeah,
well, we also work nights, so it's one of those things where it's
And if I do take a night off to go see a sporting event, it's going to be for the nights.
Yeah. But I just touched on it right there, Casino. LeBron James. So let's switch over to the
LeBron
NBA.
James.
LeBron James, where he has had quite a week, and that started with, I don't know if you saw this or not, Casino, and I don't know if you knew this or not, but LeBron James' son plays at USC currently. I know nobody ever talks about it. So his son,
nobody talks about Bronny.
Yeah, his son Bronny James plays at USC. Currently,
which, by the way, I let's just real quick. I can't stand that. Just name your kid LeBron Jr. Why are you Bronny? Like,
Well,
Sorry.
that was also when this whole topic we're about to dive into got brought up. I did see a funny tweet, or I don't know what they're called on X now, but I saw a funny comment where somebody was like, how old do you get until you are embarrassed that your name is Brawny? Right? Because no 50-year-old man is walking around. You're like, hey, Brawny. Hey, Brawny. Especially when your son, or so my name is William. This would be like me naming my son Ilium, right? Like I just cut out the beginning part, or I put it like Il Amon. I don't know. It's weird to take. Let's talk about this casino. It's weird to
I
take.
want to talk about it. That's why I brought it up.
It's weird to take part of your first name, extend the back end of it, and then call your offspring that.
Yeah. So
Right?
I have a friend named
That's a
Brian,
weird
and he
move.
named his son Bryson, and I'm like, why? Why? I
But
mean, the
your
ones that
name
mean
is
go for it.
Casey. So if you named your son what? It would be SEY. If you named him like Sason, and everybody was like, "Where'd you get that name from?" And you were like, "Well, listen, I took the back half of my name and then just extended it." I feel like everybody would be like, "Why wouldn't you just name him Casey Jr.
Right.
or
Well,
just
see,
Casey the second?"
that's what my family did with my older brother and my dad. And so my older brother is a junior, but they just go by different things. So like their names are Eddie, but my dad goes by Ed and my brother goes by EJ for Eddie Joe. Like,
But is that a white person thing? Because my family also does that. I'm technically William the Third, but my grandpa had a different nickname. My dad's name is Bill. My name's always been my initials, so it's like same thing where we all have the first name, but we have a different, just like if his name was just LeBron Jr. and then they called him Brawny, then it would be like, oh, that's just his nickname. But for his name to be the actual nickname of his dad without having his dad's name,
yeah.
just a weird move. And I feel like it's not talked about enough. That's a weird move.
So
But
I'm gonna send you one of my friends. He's got probably the best name ever, but I won't say the full name on air. Um, but it is fantastic. He's a third. Uh, here you go. And there, send it to you. So this is I love this name.
you know what? As a person who appreciates great names, great name. I
Yeah,
won't say his full name, but also just the last name, Wellington. That's a great name.
and
That's great.
the best part is he not even like a fourth or like an eighth or whatever. He's legitimately half Korean. So think of that name, and he's half Korean. It's fantastic.
But,
So I won't give his first name, but middle name is Francis, last name Wellington. So Francis Wellington, and yet he's legitimately half Korean.
I mean, that's great.
That's
Great
phenomenal.
name. Great name.
Uh,
Not great name. Let's go back to Bronny James Casino. So he is at USC. He is averaging 5.3 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 37 from the field. So
LeBronny James.
and again, USC is 11-17 this season. The team's not good. He has not performed well on the team, and yet that did not stop LeBron James from earlier in the season saying on Twitter, watching NBA League Pass, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, watching NBA League Pass, and Bronny is better than most of the dudes playing in the NBA right now, or something along the lines of
he's doing it
watching
for clout.
League Pass.
He's trying to get his son into the NBA. If he was not LeBron's son, if he was not LeBron James' son, I don't think that he would cut it in the NBA. I truly don't.
Well, no, he can't. I mean, he can't cut it in college football. So again,
Basketball.
I feel like the elephant in this conversation is obviously Bronny had the medical emergency where it was like, will he even play sports again? And that whole saga happened. But thankfully, he had a full recovery and now he's playing again, and it doesn't look like that had any lasting effects or anything like that, right? But so the story we're talking about now, LeBron James said that, again, paraphrasing, but basically he was watching League Pass. There were dudes on there who weren't as good as his son who could play in the NBA right now. James has also said, oh, whatever team drafts Bronny, I'm going there. And then that has also led to the looming talks of,
here's
like,
the thing. I get that, but he's not Bronny James is not going to play anywhere except for Lakers. He's going to go to the Lakers, because I will tell you right now, no team is going to want to pick up Bronny just to get a fading out LeBron James, because LeBron James has reached that limit now, I believe, where he's past that certain threshold where his max long-term contract can only be 3 years, because he's over he's over a certain age. So he can only get that certain contract of 3 years max. This is what I was listening to on the radio. I believe that's all accurate.
well, I mean, yeah, he's going to be 40 years old at the
and
start
I
of
think
next
after
season.
the
Or no,
38 or
Yeah.
39, once you reach that, you can only get a contract extended out to a 3-year deal just because of an age thing. But here's where I'm getting at is, do you think any team would pick up Bronny, knowing he's not that great of a player, and when LeBron James leaves, now you're stuck with Bronny? And so say you do want LeBron James on your team, and you pick up Bronny and be like, hey, now you come to us. Is it really going to matter when LeBron James is on the tail end of his career? I know he's still playing very well, and we'll get to, what he just did against the Clippers here soon. But why would anybody want to do that? Why would anybody, outside of bringing in viewership, you're not going to win games. You're not going to play well enough to win games with those two on your team. So why not just let the Lakers pick him up? The Lakers will get their viewership. It's already in the the Lakers are already transitioning away from LeBron, even though he's still the face of the league. They're going to move away from him eventually because he's going to be too old. He's going to retire. And do you want to also be stuck with Bronny? And I don't think LeBron's going to go anywhere because he's a very business-minded person and he's almost done with his career. Why would you leave LA? Why would you leave LA? Everything, it's the Mecca. Why would you move anywhere else from there? So that's where my eyes are on that.
Well, I think so. To what you were just saying, LeBron James still is averaging 25 points a game, 7 rebounds, 8 assists. So he's still playing at a high level.
That's what I was trying to say for him.
But we have seen this season and last season, the injury bug is starting to creep up a little, which, as we've seen in all sports, the older you get, the harder it becomes to not only avoid
I thought that was
injury.
the opposite. I thought the older you get, the softer it becomes.
That's a good one, Casino.
Thank you.
A good one. But yeah, we've seen it's harder to come back from injury. It's easier to get injured. We've seen most good players, or I don't want to say most, but a lot of great players have to retire just because, you go from playing a back-to-back game and then being fine to all of a sudden you got to sit out 1 game and then it becomes sitting out 2 games, and the recovery process of just trying to keep your body to where, your peak is, especially if you're somebody like LeBron James, who plays a very physical style of basketball where you just have to have, the breaks and stuff like that. And then you look at the standings, and right now the Lakers are the 9th seed. So again, adding Bronny James to this Lakers team does not make them better. So then it also becomes, like you were saying, if you're the Lakers, you obviously want to sign LeBron James for big money. Yeah, because he's the face of your franchise along with Anthony Davis. But then when you go to the offseason, you've just signed LeBron James. Now you get Bronny. So then it becomes a thing of, well, yeah, LeBron James is playing with his son, and that's going to be cool, but you're not going to, are you going to waste a first round pick to make sure you get Bronny James?
Right.
Are you going to, what pick are you sacrificing to get a player you know does not improve your team, and you're only doing it to keep a player you already have on the team and you're ninth in the Western Conference? Get what I'm saying? So then it becomes the story, which is LeBron James tweeted the thing we just mentioned earlier in the season. And then Monday, February 27th, he said that after the news that ESPN mock NBA draft had dropped Bronny out of the first round, LeBron James went to X and posted, "Can you all please just let the kid be a kid and enjoy college basketball? The work and results will ultimately do the talking, no matter what he decides to do. If you don't know, he doesn't care what a mock draft says. He just works. Earned, not given." The follow-up tweet said, "And to all the other kids out there striving to be great, just keep your head down, blinders on, and keep grinding. These mock drafts doesn't matter one bit. I promise you. Only the work matters. Let's talk real basketball, people." Best ending to that. Both tweets have since been deleted. So,
dude, he is an absolute. This is why I don't like LeBron James.
Yeah, because he's a hypocrite.
Exactly. 100%. There's so much shit that he says in his life during this career, during being famous. I mean, granted, he was famous since he was a freaking high schooler, but still, I shouldn't be shocked at this point with the shit that he says, but still, it shocks me. It shocks me. Let him be a normal kid. He's your freaking son. His name's Bronny. Your name's LeBron. You know, you literally you draw attention every time. Again, it comes with the territory. It comes with the territory, man. You want to be famous. It comes with the territory. Remember my whole rant about the Taylor Swift thing where she was like, stop putting the camera on me. It comes with the damn territory. You're famous. You're a superstar. You transcend, like, not just this country. You go to all the other, like, you are a worldwide icon. And yet you're like, yeah, let him be a kid. No, he's your kid. He's going to have eyes on him. You want him to play with you in the NBA. They're going to have eyes on him. They're going to talk about him. Your family is a talking point. You've created this. It is what it is. You have to live with it. And then don't be a fucking hypocrite. I am so over LeBron James, dude. I can't wait till he's out of the league. I solely and truly can't wait till he's out of the league.
I don't know why you're saying that, because he's going to be given the team in Las Vegas. So you and I are going to see him more than when he's playing now in the NBA. Like, that's going to be a thing. But
he's not. Also, I just can't. I can't.
Obviously, the hypocrisy in this story is the hypocrisy in this story is nobody would care or put so much attention on Bronny James if LeBron James basically wasn't tying his future to where his LeBron, son is
exactly.
Yeah. So if this was just a kid in college basketball trying to play college basketball, most people, and I think I'm being generous when I'm saying most people, wouldn't even know Bronny James was in college basketball, right? Because he's not prominently featured in USC games. USC is not a team prominently featured in nationally televised college basketball games. So he would kind of just fade into the background until all of a sudden it came to draft time. And then it's like, oh shit, LeBron James' son is in this upcoming draft. But if LeBron James just did the thing where he was like, My son's in college basketball. I hope to play with him one day, but he's got to put the work in. Like all that kind of stuff. That would be perfectly fine, but this overhyping of your son who is not delivering in college basketball, and again, it's not his son's fault that he's not one of the biggest names in college basketball or dominating college basketball, because that is a hard thing to do, right? But again, if he's not putting up those kind of numbers, and nobody would shine the spotlight on him if it wasn't for his dad.
Yeah.
Again, tying everything his son does to his future in the NBA and disrespecting the guys in the NBA by being like, my son's better than almost everybody I've
Right.
seen on League Pass.
So
I mean,
him
it's like,
disrespecting other people, I'm going to disrespect him right now. We've talked way too much about LeBron James. So I'm just going to tell you real quick. Cool. He had a really good comeback against the Clippers. He outscored the Clippers himself in the fourth quarter. Cool. Awesome. Great performance. Fuck off, LeBron James. I'm done talking about LeBron James. Let's move. Disrespect all day. I will say this. Well, I hate Aaron Rodgers more than LeBron James, but it's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
Ooh. But yeah. And then
because here's the thing. I think LeBron James does more for the sport than what Aaron Rodgers does. So that's kind of where I peek it over. But
yeah. And you know what? To give LeBron James credit, and then we'll end on a high note, and then we'll move to NFL and get out of here.
But I wanted to end on disrespect.
I know. I want to end on a high note. He is 9 points away from getting to 40,000 points, which is insane. It's super impressive, and for him to be doing it at this age is just ungodly. Like it's crazy, but I do think that
go play football until you're 43 like Tom Brady. Then fucking talk.
But I do think that why everyone dislikes LeBron James is this story. And I do think that
this is not the only story. He does it all the time.
But I'm saying this kind of story, right? Yes. Where it's like he puts himself at the forefront of things that wouldn't be an issue if he didn't put himself at the forefront.
Right. The most famous one though for me is the whole the whole controversy overseas with China and that whole thing. And remember that?
Yeah. Again, it just puts a sour taste in your mouth where, again, because of the hypocrisy. Yeah. It's the hypocrisy, not the skill or basketball that annoys people, because the skill or basketball.
Yeah. We're still talking about him. I thought I said we're done. Disrespect. Did you want to talk JJ Redick and Doc Rivers in the Milwaukee Bucks?
No. We'll go straight to the NFL. Let's go to the NFL. What was the NFL story you had, Casino, that you wanted to bring up?
So did you hear this thing about you're an Eagles fan, where Mecole Hardman was reportedly leaked information about the Jets game plan to the Philadelphia Eagles, and apparently they said also the Chiefs game as well, but the main one is to the Eagles before the game.
Yeah, and they still lost.
Lost. That's the best part about it is even regardless of that loss, like, dude, if these rumors are true, that's the end of his career. Like, no team will touch him.
So the report is, and this is by Connor Hughes on Twitter. Yes, I'm told there was validated, and I think that's the important word, validated belief from the Jets that wide receiver Mecole Hardman was frustrated by his lack of usage and therefore leaked game plans to the opposition. And that has been heavily implied by several Jets players. He did this for not only the Eagles game, but the Chiefs game. And I'm telling you, if he did it for 2 games that are basically confirmed, there's no doubt he did it for other games that have not yet been confirmed, right? You're not just cherry picking 2 games and then not doing anything else, right? Like but he's still under contract with the Chiefs. He obviously caught the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl, but he better hope that the Chiefs want to keep him for the long term, because I agree with you. I feel like that's going to be a really hard thing to sell to any other team thinking about signing you, especially when you're kind of a run-of-the-mill wide
You mean,
receiver and
by
not
the way,
like.
you mean the Jets?
No, he's on the Chiefs. He got traded to the Chiefs.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's the one that caught the touchdown in OT, but
Yeah, that's right.
I'm just saying, he better hope that the Chiefs sign him to a long-term deal. Because if you're a free agent with this kind of dark cloud hanging over you, I don't think there's another team willing to take a chance on you, unless it's to get intel on the Chiefs, right? Like if you're the Broncos or the Chargers or the Raiders, you'd probably be like, hey, come on over here. Let's go to this back room and I'll lock the door and you can tell us the keys. Apparently, Antonio Pierce has the keys to beat Patrick Mahomes. But yeah, that is a weird story. Weird story, Casino.
Um,
But let's move on to, you know what? This was, I wanted to surprise you with this story because I will just read it verbatim. It's maybe the best sports story, I want to say, of the year. I'm just going to read the Daily Mail UK head just story. Okay. Get ready for this, Casino.
I'm holding on.
NFL superstar Tyreek Hill broke plus size OnlyFan influencer's leg by charging at her with crushing force after she humiliated him during practice football drills at his Florida mansion, lawsuit claims. So I don't know what part of that you want to dive into, but here's the bullet points. Influencer, and by influencer, again, OnlyFans model. Influencer is not a job title. OnlyFans model Sophia Hall, 35, claims Miami Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill broke her leg during a backyard football lesson at his Florida mansion last year. The plus size model claims Hill invited her to his home over flirty DMs and is now suing the scandal plagued player for battery, assault, and negligence. So again, first off, I think we need to give Tyreek Hill props for teaching OnlyFans models who want to learn football how to play football, right? Out of the kindness of his heart. What a guy.
Right. But wasn't if I thought I was reading this because I did hear about this story last night. But wasn't it where like it was her son or something was having like a practice thing? Was that it or no?
No. She says that Hill felt humiliated.
There was an event going on, right?
Something like that. But she said she felt humiliated when she managed to, again, these are her words, so I would love a clarification on what this means. Hold her own and even knock him backwards during a series of practice drills. So we have NFL cornerbacks who can't stop Tyreek Hill. And this OnlyFans model is not only holding her own, but hand checking him at the line of scrimmage so violently that it pissed Hill off and he decided to charge at her. This is a great story.
This is a great story. I mean, yeah, this is a great
thoughts,
story.
Casino. I need your thoughts. And again, she posted a video where now she's on crutches. It's just, this is the best news story of all time.
Yeah, I mean, fuck his house being on fire.
Do you think the Chiefs sign this woman or the Patriots or the Jets sign this woman for hot tips on how to stop Tyreek Hill at the line?
Yeah. That's so funny. Oh man. That's good.
I mean, she's obviously very attractive.
Yeah, she is. She very much is.
I mean, I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know what there's even to say about this,
No,
but
that's a fun one.
what a great story. What a
Um,
great story.
so I have a lot to talk about with the Justin Fields one. I don't really have much about the Sims and the Prescott contract. I didn't know about those until just researching them after you told me about it. So if you want to
Yeah,
kind of we're a
well,
little
we're also
over.
running a little long.
Yeah,
So
if you
let's just
if you want to touch the Sims Hurts thing, and if you want to touch on the Dak Prescott thing, we can talk about the Justin Fields thing because I think that's the most interesting and most talked about thing currently.
yeah, so the Hertz thing was Chris Sims went on his dumb show and said that Jalen Hurts was the most overrated, not quarterback, player in the NFL. Which again, even if he said quarterback, it's like apparently Chris Sims does not watch games because Hurts had a down year, and a down year means for half the season he was a front runner for MVP. So again, last year he's the only quarterback we've seen in a big game that basically went toe to toe on every possession with Patrick Mahomes, and then their defense basically cost them that game. But again, I don't think we have to touch much on that. It's just once again, nice shirt, Casino. It's once again proving that Chris Sims might be one of the worst NFL analysts on the platform. And by platform, I just mean social media or online or whatever. The other one was the Dak Prescott contract negotiations. We can just move to later to talk about when he actually signs that contract because it's looking like he'll end up being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which again is crazy. But when it comes to Justin Fields, let's talk about it, Casino. The Bears going into this upcoming draft obviously have the number one pick. The consensus number one pick is a quarterback, Caleb Williams from USC. USC getting a lot of play on this podcast today. So there is speculation that the Bears. So this is how out of control it is. 2 days ago, the New York Post posted a story that showed Justin Fields' manager posting a celebration video online of the Falcons trade rumors, right? So it was speculation he was celebrating and posting that video at the time he did because the Falcons had just acquired Justin Fields in a trade, right? So a
Right.
day ago, the odds in these online betting communities were that Justin Fields is going to land with the Atlanta Falcons. As of 5 hours ago, the betting odds for the Atlanta Falcons, for Justin Fields to the Atlanta Falcons, has been removed. And now all of a sudden, the rumors are that the Bears are going to keep Justin Fields again, but this is all within the past 2 days. So tomorrow, he could be traded to the Falcons. He could be the Bears starting quarterback. Obviously, the coaching staff and Bears media and Bears Twitter is like, he's our quarterback of the future, which means absolutely nothing in the NFL.
Yeah.
But if you are the Bears, Casino, do you keep Justin Fields, trade him away? What happens?
Here we go. All right. You try to get rid of them and move off of them as best you can because Caleb Williams, even if Justin Fields turns out to be a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, if Caleb Williams comes out and is a flop, which I don't think he's going to be a flop. I just don't know if he's going to be as great as, some of the other quarterbacks that over the last handful of years. But definitely has the best option to be that. Here's the thing. You take him. You have the number one pick. You don't pass this opportunity because if you do and you pass on this opportunity and you have another horrible season and Caleb Williams goes off, you're going to look absolutely sheepish. Like I can't see any other thing besides they need to take Caleb Williams. And you need to try to get rid of Justin Fields because he's about to get that point where he's going to now ask for money. That market for quarterbacks is so good for even shitty quarterbacks. It's absolutely insane. Look what's happening in New York with the Giants. Like that Daniel Jones contract, awful. It is so much money for a mediocre quarterback. Dude, stop being so wild right now. That's a bad contract. So if he can get that contract, Justin Fields is damn well going to ask for that. And yes, say you still draft him and you try to keep Justin Fields, it's pointless to do that because then you're still going to have to pay Justin Fields. I don't understand it. So moving off of him, I don't see why you would. It would be idiotic if they try to do something else with that. However, this is just a fun thing. As we're talking, I have my Patriots group chat with my brother and some friends. Apparently, the Patriots just released cornerback J.C. Jackson, creating about another $13.5 million in cap space. The team nearly has $100 million in space going into this next season. That is so much money. And my brother brought up, what do you think if the Patriots, who've got the 3rd overall pick, if they trade up and say, hey, here's a whole bunch of money, blah, 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 do you think that can now solidify them on getting that number 1 pick? I said no, but the Bears aren't that smart, so they might do that. But, that's basically paying to get Caleb Williams. I don't know if you want to do that, but I just thought that was interesting point. But you need to get rid of Justin Fields. Justin Fields, I think, is a good quarterback, and people talk about how shitty his passing rating is and how shitty he is as a passing quarterback. He doesn't have time to throw the damn football. He doesn't have time to be a decent quarterback through the air. He has to run for his goddamn life every single game. Every single game. Like, this quarterback would be non-existent if he didn't have a run game. Like, nobody would be talking about it. So I think going to Atlanta, who have a little bit more weapons, I think, and they've got some new personnel in place. I think that's the perfect spot for him. I know there was other. Oh, thank you. You just spit up all over me. That is, bro. You look so cute for your mom. Oh man. Can we just end the podcast now?
Yeah.
Oh,
I basically my Justin Fields take is.
Why was that funny? He's just laughing at me.
In Chicago, he has a 10-28 quarterback record. He obviously passing. He's never passed for 3,000 yards. And again, the most pass friendly year of or decade of NFL quarterback play we've ever seen. Now, obviously, in 2022, he rushed for almost 1,200 yards. Last year, he rushed for almost 700. His first year, he rushed for 420.
420.
I do think if you're the Bears, if you're keeping Justin Fields, you try to trade back maybe 2 or 3 spots to where you get Marvin Harrison Jr., and then you pair him with Fields. You get more draft capital, more players, do all that kind of stuff.
That's why I think it's very interesting. So for you to say that, that's why I'm saying I think it's very interesting that the Patriots, release J.C. Jackson, which that's a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money, and you might be able to move up. Going from the 3rd to the 1st isn't that big of a deal if you're looking to keep Justin Fields.
Yeah. Well, also, if you're the Bears, you go either one of 2 ways. You build around Justin Fields, but I agree with you. It's going to come up to contract time, and are you really going to be paying $40+ million for Justin Fields, which is a quarterback we haven't seen?
That could eventually be your backup.
Yeah, we've seen Justin Fields have great games and great moments, but we've never seen him do it consistently, right? So then it becomes the thing of, I think they should take Caleb Williams. They should try to trade Justin Fields, but again, in what are you going to get back for him? If you can get a second, third round pick, God forbid some team gives a first round pick up for him. But
If you
if
get a
you can
second or a
get,
third rounder, you win.
yeah, you win. You get Caleb Williams, who at this point I feel is as good as Justin Fields.
I would
Right?
agree.
I don't think Justin Fields has shown us anything to say he's much better than any of the
Yeah,
quarterback
but we got to be
prospects.
fair to this. Is he hasn't really had the best opportunity. Yes, he's had time, but you're playing for the Bears, who has not been good and not managed their team well. So everybody that's like, oh, well, you still have time, and that's why I keep talking about with the Mac Jones thing is, do I want to move off Mac Jones? Yes, but do I feel like it was fair to him, how he got in like how where he is in the NFL? No, I don't, because Belichick doesn't know how to do anything on offense. So and he had three different coordinators. So, I feel bad for him. I feel the same way with Justin Fields. Is you're
Yeah.
a good player that is on just a shitty track, and you're getting the shit into the stick of it, because we don't know what you can really do if you're on a decent team. So people are like, oh, well, he's had plenty of time in the NFL. He should have showed things. You can't really show things and you said he shows flashes, but it's not consistent. I'll take those flashes as a good sign rather than a bad sign when you are consistently on a bad team and you have to try to figure it out yourself.
That's a really good point because
Thank
again,
you.
the
Whoa,
points left
that felt
out.
good. You said good point. All
No, that
right.
was a really good point
Thank you.
because again, the points left out of the Patrick Mahomes conversation is he got put on an already good team with the perfect situation and maybe the best offensive play calling coach in NFL history. So that's not to diminish Patrick Mahomes, but again, I don't think Patrick Mahomes would be Patrick Mahomes if this Bears team would have drafted him.
Right.
Right? Like we would be
Because
talking about him in the
Mahomes could
same
scramble
vein.
all day and get away, but he's got the players on the other side, mainly right now just Travis Kelsey, but will get open. Like, will be
Yeah.
his blanket bailout when he has to scramble.
Well, and he has the scheme, and we've seen the past couple seasons how the NFL has shifted to where now coordinators matter more than anything, right? Like if you don't have a good offensive or defensive coordinator, you're probably not winning games. So on that note, Casino, we can end the podcast there.
Thank you. I'm starting to smell like spoiled milk over here.
So this has been the Only Sports Podcast. I'm Will. That's Casino over there. We're gonna switch to one day a week, maybe Wednesdays, maybe Thursdays. We'll talk about it. But yeah, this has been the Only Sports Podcast. Adios.